Yo, what's up, everybody? What day is it today? Is it Tuesday? No, it's not Tuesday. It's Thursday
Thursday
now.
here.
Yep, it's midnight, Thursday, the 15th, halfway through the month of
Midnight,
May.
man.
Yeah, bro, good
You're a night
morning.
owl.
I am, yes. Yeah, yeah, I get a little power nap, like, yeah, when the day starts and then crack on.
That's it.
What
All the best things happen in the middle of the night, man.
They
That's where the
sure do.
productivity peaks.
Yep, that's when flow state's at its highest. But how you
That's
doing,
it.
man? It's been a little minute since we had a little chat. How is everyone down there?
Yeah, we haven't
Let us
talked in a
know.
bit.
Yeah. What's going on?
Pretty
What's going
good.
on?
Just working, getting things done. Working. Working? Yeah, working.
Working,
Yeah,
working.
What's up?
But is it dead?
Dead at the end. That's great. Nah, it'll be pretty good. Like, yeah, all over the place at the moment. There's lots of things happening. Um, I'm kind of like I got my fingers in a couple of buckets, but a lot of things are kind of just happening on their own at the moment. So, like playing the devil's advocate and trying to just I don't know oversee a lot of things. But also at the same time, just working along with the platform. Now that we know what we're doing, we've got this like whole thing carved out, and everything makes sense now. So yeah, just kind of like building that out. I'm super excited about the platform specifically, mostly because uh, I think this is something that kind of like what everyone has been trying to do. I know this is like a couple of cycles ago where essentially people were like crazy about metaverse and building the right thing, and a lot of over promising and under delivering, but um, and especially bigger companies that are still apparently promising this stuff. Uh, but I don't know. I feel like we just have the right positioning now, and we're doing the right infrastructure for an actual properly decentralized style metaverse. And the platform, I keep saying platform, but really it's like the more that I play around with this and the more that I look at it and like go back to like first principles and stuff, it just kind of feels more like a metaverse browser than a platform itself. So people are able to
Sounds
like self-host
sounds
their
better than
world.
platform.
Yeah, yeah. But that term itself has also been like just kind of wrecked by people who have said that they have metaverse browsers, but they're just fucking
That's
platforms.
true. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just excited because like the more I build it, the more I'm like, yes, 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 yes. All the pieces are in place. It's like everyone gets to self-host their world or use like a hosting platform. Like one click, they get a world. But that's not owned by us, and anyone can create their own hosting. It's like Minecraft, right? Like it's very like our system, the way that we've got it set up is really similar to Minecraft in that like you have this single persistent world, and even in Minecraft you get like a world folder, right? And everything's in there, and you can self-host it. You put it wherever you want, and there's many different places that you can go and get a Minecraft server. So it's kind of like that, except instead of just blocks in the world, it's like this full-on crazy thing where all sorts of things can happen. It's like it's not just blocks. It's kind of like whatever you want, really. But yeah, so like I don't know. It's just cool. It's like you can self-host your world, do whatever you want, and you own it. No one can take it away from you. And even if this metaverse browser slash platform thing disappears, uh, it doesn't matter. You still have everything, and no one can take it away. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like the definition, and it's open source, so no one can again do anything. Um, and because I hate seeing these platforms like there's been enough of them where people have spent a lot of effort and time building these things. Um, and there were a lot of really good ones out there. I don't even want to mention too many names, but there have been a lot of like gaming platforms and virtual world platforms where people have invested a lot of time and effort into building these like games and experiences. And then what happens, especially in VC world, is that they'll get acquired or they'll sell the company or maybe they just kind of give up. And that company goes down and then all that content goes down with it. Like that absolutely freaking sucks. Like I don't want to call it either something like Decentraland, which is like a lot of people say that it's kind of like feels like it's on its last legs, but like that's amazing. Like look at the like run around Decentraland and all of the cool worlds and stuff that like spaces that people have built there is just amazing. And to see that just disappear one day would absolutely suck. And I think their architecture is like they've done it better than everyone else. Where they still are open source, but I don't think anyone will be able to figure out how to resurrect that, not easily. Whereas like Hyperfy Worlds, just you spin them up. Anyway, so it's like this idea of the platform of the metaverse browsers, that's a layer on top of that, and it's like the glue that keeps all these worlds together. So while yeah, you can self-host and whatnot, but if you go through this thing that we're building, it kind of like brings everything together with social features, friends lists, and stuff like that. Being able to see what worlds people are in, but it also adds a lot of features to the world. So um, just by self-hosting a world and then entering through this metaverse browser type thing, you get a persistent auth across all worlds. You get voice chat out of the box, so people don't have to worry about like running and paying for like a voice chat server on each individual world. You get Solana just integration will just magically work. So the idea is that we'll just be embedding all of the Solana hooks without the Solana libraries and stuff like that into worlds, and then they'll just the platform will just kind of like enhance and use those with a overarching Solana integration. And then yeah, so we got like cross-world sign-in, Solana integration, shared backpacks. So basically, worlds will have this ability to reward or offer digital items to people that come into their worlds, and those items will go into the browsers, like to your personal backpack, where you can actually download them. You could download them as a hype and go put them in your world if you wanted to, your own world. But those items could also be used in other worlds. And so like I think I spoke about this last time, where you just have this concept of being able to own something and then use it across many different worlds, and each world owner can choose like what thing can be used where. And yeah, and the
Are
other
those
thing.
backpacks?
What
Sorry,
was
I'm
that?
sorry. Keep going.
Go
I
for
want to
it.
ask about the backpacks. Are those backpacks working with the world storage, or are they working with like wallet NFT kind of thing, or both? Or
So that is where things will be like somewhat centralized in one way, but completely decentralized in another. So, um, one of the things that I really want to solve here, and a lot of people keep saying this, and it kind of just makes so much more sense now, is that I used to think, oh, should we be doing this completely Web 2 and then maybe later just build a Web 3 platform as a separate thing? And then other people were like, oh, should we just like go all in on Solana? But what if Solana like I don't know. There's so many like different scenarios that can play out there. And I think the best solution for both of that, and like one of the things that I really freaking want to do is help onboard Web 2 onto Web 3. And like there is a Web 3, I'm totally shilling this. There's a Web 3 game called Off the Grid. I think fuck is it called Off the Grid? It's
Yeah, off the grid,
basically
the
like an
Avalanche.
extraction
Yeah, yeah.
shooter.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they do this thing that just makes so much fucking sense. And okay, first of all, like they made like a really freaking cool game. It's like almost AAA. Um, it's an extraction shooter. You go in, you like loot shit and whatever, and it's completely like Web 2 to begin with. And then there's this other thing, I forget what they're called. Um, but they're basically like NFT extractors. So you play Web 2, but for those who actually care about NFTs, you can loot things and then go to like a specific place to use like NFTs, get NFTs and then unwrap NFTs, and then there's a marketplace for them and all that kind of stuff. And so like I was just looking at that, I'm like, yeah, you've just onboarded the entirety of Web 2 onto Web 3 with them without them even needing to know that like any of that shit exists. Um, Not because you don't want them to know, but because it's like some people just want to have fun, and then they'll realize the power of NFTs and like all of that stuff, and like true ownership of digital items and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like yeah, but the idea with this whole like metaverse browser slash platform thing is that Worlds will be able to just off the bat give you a hype app, and that will just be completely Web 2. It's like I'm just walking around in a world, and this world gives me an avatar, and then this like I finish this little game thing like a parkour map or something like that, and or a quest, and it'll give me a freaking little like trophy object that I can then keep, and that's all Web 2. It's just like it's literally a file. It's not just a centralized thing like a virtual thing. Like if you look at like Fortnite, right? If you go and buy something, you don't get the files for it. You don't get any of that. You just get like this.
Right.
The
A,
platform just says you have it.
a name on a thing in a
Yeah,
database, right? Yeah.
and you can use it there and just in their thing. But like what I'm saying with this, with hypes and avatars and stuff, is that we can physically give you the whole damn file of that thing. Um, and yeah, it'll kind of work the same as Fortnite. It goes into your like vault or backpack or whatever, and then you can use that in your worlds. But worlds can also check if you have it to unlock things. So you could be given a key in one world or an object that represents some kind of a pass or something in one world, but then another world who is completely like it's made by somebody else could use that as a thing to unlock a door. So like you've got this full interoperation where you can earn things in any world, but then another world can riff on those items and be like, well, if you played this, Pudgy Penguins game over here, then we'll let you like get into this door in this other world over here, you know, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And you kind of get like that power of Web3 NFT kind of like ownership even without Web3. But then also on top of all of that, we have this concept of actually giving people NFTs. And so the NFTs are the same. They're hype apps. You can download them. You fully own them. You could like take them completely off the platform, go self-host your own world, put the objects in there, and no one can take it away from you, and whatnot. And like, yeah, you get the
I guess,
best of both worlds.
yeah, totally. I guess my question is like I've been working on a certain on like a quest core system for a different project, and working with the world storage and stuff to kind of build basically like a profile of where the player is within the challenges and stuff, right? And the what they receive when they complete things and stuff. And so if it's Web3 based, and if it's like backpacks, or is the idea to store their like profile as like a hypercard or that backpack or whatever on chain, and so then all their stuff's on chain. Is that interacting then with world storage in each world, or are you like fetching directly from the NFT metadata to know what they have collected in different worlds, if that makes sense?
So yeah, it's like the browser will basically enhance worlds in the most efficient way that it possibly can without having the world to have to do these things themselves. Like voice chat's a good example because you won't need the tokens, you won't need LiveKit installed and all that kind of stuff. We'll just kind of layer on top outside of the world itself. But when it comes to like auth and identity and like backpack and stuff, basically when we're gonna load worlds in iframes, essentially, like that's the tech behind all of it. Um, where when you go to connect to a world, that world will actually go, hey, am I running inside the like this browser? Like because an iframe can see whether it's parent if it's being hosted as an iframe and the domain that it's being hosted in. And if it is, it'll start using this messaging between the two windows. So like your world that you've self-hosted will basically see that it's being hosted inside of hyperfy.xyz uh, domain, and then it'll just start sending messages. And those messages will be things like, here's like an auth token, like a JSON web token that has your name and your avatar um, and all of that, and it'll inject that into your world, and your world will just be like, yeah, okay, I'll use that instead of like your own user system. So we'll provide all of that, and it'll just get injected into your world. Whether that gets saved to your world, I think, is a question still. It could just be more like an ephemeral user. So you'll get the
So
same consistent user ID as every time they come back in, and whatever current name and avatar that they've got equipped. Um, but that just means that like yeah, I can set my avatar to be like my avatar, and then whenever I go to any world, it will properly inject that in there. And that means that we have to have standards. So we can't just be like, oh, you can upload any VRM and it would just inject it into any world, because like performance, and some people don't want that. So we're gonna start with like the basics, where it's like we have our own um, as a platform or a browser, we have our own like standard on what optimization for avatars and stuff are. Does that
Cool.
answer your
And
question?
it's sort of, yeah. I guess I'm more curious about like the read write aspects of it. So like if I'm pulling that from world to world, from in my world, is it easy to add stuff to that then
Yeah, you would
um
just associate to the ID. So like every
okay.
time I join your world through the browser, it will use the same user ID. And if you want to use like storage and stuff like that to like remember what quest I'm up to, or like
Yeah.
whether you've even given me an NFT or something like that, you can
Right.
just store the user ID and be like yes or no, or like yes, this person finished this quest and this user ID. So you would just associate everything to the user ID mostly. You wouldn't want to try and like remember their name or avatar, because they might have changed that when they're in another world and then come back. So you
Yeah.
would just
Yeah, I'm currently using player ID in the world storage, so kind of the same system, but
it'll
and
use player ID, yeah. So it'll inject. So when people are connecting to the world, we'll inject the user ID, their name and avatar, and that world will accept that and just treat it like it's a regular user. So you almost won't see any difference. It'll just look like a regular user, like through your own world's database, but in fact, it'll just be injected.
okay, awesome.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. It's just like it's just trying to like get everything in the right places. So there will need to be changes to the world engine itself to be able to listen. It'll basically just have like a little bit of a glue thing where it's like um, where it talks between the two windows and coordinates all of that. The same thing as the inverse. So that's like injecting your like profile and stuff into the world. But the inverse is that there'll be something like that apps can call, like world.get NFTs or get apps or something like that.
Perfect.
And that will
Yeah,
then
okay.
reach back out to the platform or the browser and be like, hey, can you give me a list of the Web2 or Web3 apps that the person has in their backpack, so you can check if they have like a key to get in the door, for example. It's like the
Right.
most basic example. Um,
Yep. Perfect.
yeah, super lightweight, just
Whoa.
using like a simple, like thing to glue the two pieces
What's
together.
a reasonable idea of how far out this is until we get to play with it?
So I've already got like a basic version of this working. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do marketplace right now, because I think that there's a lot of there. So I basically, what we've got is the browser version working. You can then flick between worlds, and we've got guest auth. The other thing I should talk about is like the way that auth works is I think that the most like frictionless thing that we can do is that everybody, it's the same as kind of like regular worlds. Everybody, because it's completely Web 2 first, and then Web 3 is like for those who actually care about NFTs, which like there's going to be a significantly less than Web 2, but we want to onboard everyone. The idea is that you can jump into a world instantly through this browser, right? And you don't, it'll just be like a guest account. It'll just generate a guest account like it currently does in Worlds. And then at any point, you can, when you want to go look at your backpack or change your avatar or whatever, you sign up with an email address. That gives you a Web2 account, and then you can just off you go. You keep playing around. You've got your avatar and your name and stuff is saved, and all your friends lists and all that kind of stuff is connected. And you can connect. You can receive Web2 apps, and then at any other point, you can then go, well, actually, like this world just offered me an NFT. So, and that says that I don't have my wallet connected and I need to connect the wallet. And it's that point when a Web2 person goes, oh, do I want to do this or not? And you can upgrade by connecting your account. So that would then pop up Solana and do all that full connection thing. So I'm just kind of like, that's mostly done, that part. Um, the only part that I'm just trying to figure out really is like the marketplace side of things. Yeah, I think that's like probably the biggest overarching part. But I think from my own point of view, we've done the due diligence and it makes sense. And now it's just about like filling in the missing gaps. Um, I'm still actually trying to figure out where the line is between MVP. Like, what is the point where we can just get this out as quick as possible, and then the other things can come later. And I think that there's a few things that we might like wait for, like doing like a true. We'll probably do friends lists and like social like basics where you can see what worlds people are in. Um, you can add people as friends. You can see what worlds they're in, and then quickly jump to them. But we might leave things till later, like DMs and um, group chats, and maybe
I was playing with the DM email hype the other day.
what was that? What's that?
I was playing around with the hype that allows you to to send chat messages only seen by certain player IDs.
Oh, well, yeah. I didn't even realize you kind of have everything you need for that. You just
Yeah.
start locally sending messages.
Mhm.
That's cool. Well, that probably won't be needed once we get
Yeah,
CPU
that's why I'm
running.
asking. Is like how far out? Because like some of these things I'm making, I'm like, damn it, I have to redo them. Like a
Well, there's a question around
chunky
whether
work.
somebody asked whether I should be making this thing open source as well, and I feel like maybe it should, but yeah, I don't know. So that if it is, then I mean you can contribute that to that. But yeah, I yeah, I can't give you a timeline. I'm not gonna lie,
No
but
worries.
but it feels like a lot of that stuff is kind of done. It's just about making sure that it's good. You know what I mean? I think I've said this like so many times, where I'm like,
Yeah,
isn't there a freaking
There's a
there's a
soundboard,
saying
soundboard
yeah,
about
for it, but
that?
we can't use soundboard and stage. I don't think. But
yeah.
I'm just trying. I'm just making it real good. Yeah.
It's true though, man. Say it as many times as needed because it's working. Yeah.
That's funny. It's like everything. I feel like a lot of things that I build are really easy, but I always take a step back and just be like, nah, the UX, because I spent a lot of time in my career as a UX guy. I was mostly a front end web developer. Um, but then when I somehow got like called into a UX role, and I always do this thing where I'm like, first you build it and you just get it going, and then you go, okay, like, is this shit UX? You spend like more time thinking about UX than actually doing anything on it, really. But yeah, it's those are the times where you look at something and you're like, oh yeah, why did I do that? Because the dev brain and the design brain are like completely different people.
Yeah, definitely. I've been bouncing back and forth on those.
Yeah, you can't dev and design at the same time. Your brain like physically won't let you do it. You have to step back and take a breather and be like, okay, like and just like change your brain structure on the fly. But yeah, that's a bit of a deep dive into what we're doing from the platform perspective, um, or metaverse browser, whatever the hell it is now. It doesn't even have a name. Basically, it's just going to be Hyperfy.xyz. Uh, and it will glue everything together and enhance worlds with all sorts of stuff. I think we saw that with the voice chat where it's like now everyone has to have like a LiveKit account to add voice chat to their world, and that sucks. And then when I started thinking about that applied to this browser thing, I was like, oh, you won't even need that anymore. We can just kind of like provide that for you. Yeah.
Is that going
Now
to end up being an expense, you think? Will you surpass like the free version and have to be paying for everyone's live kit keys?
yeah, but so the whole idea of all of this is that the token like comes into this where the marketplace is going to be powered by Hyper, and experiences can request Hyper from users, and we're going to take like a tiny little fee off that, and that will basically just keep the platform running.
Got it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not like we're not talking a lot of money anyway, so I'm not worried. That's like the least of my worries. Also on hosting and stuff like that, Hyper taxes, yeah. On hosting and stuff. Um, right now you do have to self-host, or you have to use something like Hyperworld.host. the Hyperworld host guys, they have a pretty good system. So um, probably a month and a half maybe ago, I spoke to them about maybe utilizing their technology for this. So uh, it's just something that maybe we wouldn't need to be worried about. We could focus on like UX and the browser and like all the glue and the core engine and stuff, and offload all of that hosting technology to them where they can manage all of that. But basically, there's a potential for us to use their technology and give people one-click worlds from within the platform itself. Um, so we'll see
Yeah,
how
I
that
think
goes.
we were playing around with that with Coolify and stuff too. Got something working with like the Hyperfy directory. It's pretty straightforward with even the way that you're running it right now with Coolify
Yeah,
and and what do you use? What's the server that you're using? That's pretty good price right now.
Hetzner.
That's no, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're a German company, like primarily German, but they have US servers and they have a couple other countries. But I don't know how they're doing it, but they're really affordable and they're profitable. They're a profitable company, so I don't know how they do that, but like a single server that costs me 40 or $50 can host like 16 to 20 worlds, which is kind of crazy. It works out to be like a couple bucks a world. Which if you went to like
nice.
DigitalOcean or any other kind of host, it would cost you like it would probably cost you like $20 a month for one world.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think Fly.io is pretty nice right now. Rustam was saying it's staying relatively cheap price for the world he's got going.
Yeah,
And then
I think
for all
it's
like the
free.
NFT stuff, yeah, right. All the NFT stuff going towards like Arweave, so it's like kind of a one time thing, pinned forever, rather than like IPFS or something. Or
I would like to do NFTs in Arweave. There's a balance there about like whether how far we want to go, and this is probably something that like um this is the kind of thing that a DAO would be really good for. I don't know
yeah,
whether we'll set that up or not, but there's a question there about like to me, I think having things on Arweave means a lot. But also there's there's like this counterintuitive thing that goes against that, where it's like, well, I want to give people. Let's say I built this highly complex, but this is another thing that's being built. We're building car collection, right? And those things potentially be NFTs, right? And if we're uploading all of those to Arweave, first there's a cost. Arweave costs a lot. Well, it doesn't cost a lot, but it at scale it does. If we've got like a 10K collection of cars, or
right,
less,
yeah,
it's going to cost a lot. You're talking about a couple bucks maybe per car, um, which to be honest, like in the grand scheme of things, isn't a lot, especially for an NFT collection. Um, but there's that thing where it's like we're storing the app on the chain, which means no one can take it away. But um, if we wanted to deliver an update to that car, so like maybe we shipped them and there was like, or we wanted to not just even an update like for a bug fix, but maybe we just wanted to keep working on cars and make them better and better and better. Like we already have the cars that can drift around or whatever. Maybe if there's an issue we want to fix or something that somebody suggested that could be added to those cars, we'd have to re-upload all of those things to Arweave and pay that cost all over again, and then somehow swap the metadata to point to the new apps. So I'm not sure. Like I don't know. Maybe that could be something that's even offloaded to user, where it's like, I'll make this permanent. Like we could self-host the metadata so that you have the NFT, you have the ownership, we know who owns things, and we can interoperate across worlds with that. So worlds can be like, yeah, you own this, and it's on the chain. It's like fully discoverable and open in that way. Um, but the files themselves aren't on chain; they're not on Arweave. But that doesn't mean you can't fully own it because you can just download it and you've got the files. So yeah, I think that's kind of like if you think about a lot of NFT
a lot of
collections do that with their big assets, like any kind of 3Ds. Like if you get AKCB, those 3D models aren't on chain. It's just the images and stuff in that, like whatever, and then you go and download the app. So yeah, there's kind of like a question about where what do we do there? Like personally, I'd love everything to be on Arweave because it's like 100% decentralized. But also, I feel like a lot of people just don't seem to really care about that anymore. So maybe it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Put in the chat. There's a new kit on the blog. There's a couple links in the chat actually. Something called Codex storage. It's basically Arweave, but they're more focused around censorship and stuff like that. But it's in testnet at the minute. Yeah.
Focused on censorship, meaning they'll
hmm
censor your decentralized
No, like
objects.
defend against censorship. So
Defend against that. Okay, cool.
yeah.
Wait, I wonder if Arweave I wonder if Arweave has ever had takedowns and if they even do anything about that.
I mean, always business on those. Throw money at me and I'll do stuff for you. So maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I
I love Arweave too.
the thing that I wish that we had like a Solana version of Arweave or even Ethereum version of Arweave because dealing with like the AR token and their wallet and all that kind of stuff is like
Yes.
it's the whole other universe.
hmm
People aren't used to it, so it's like it's just yeah, it's this whole other thing. I'd rather like each chain should have their own version of it. Maybe someone should create a freaking business that's literally like an Arweave in a box, but you can just deploy it to any chain. And so like you just have these community ones where you're like, I have a node and it's on Solana. And I have a node, like this other guy has a node and it's on Ethereum. And they all just like link up and become this decentralized file storage system, but it's just like specific to each chain. That'd be fucking
layer
epic.
zero, layer zero
I think
IPFS.
I think eventually we should have hyper nodes.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I've thought about this, and I think you might have mentioned it in the past. Like, I think the idea of having like a mesh network for worlds would be cool, where
Ooh,
anyone could
Yeah.
like self-host a node, and they just put it out there, and they all link up, and anyone who wants a world at any fucking time can just be like, "Give me a world," and it will just distribute that to some like place that has availability. Um, and it could potentially just be like temporary as well. Like, I'm hosting this event. I just want to like slap a world somewhere. I just need like here's my world folder that I built. Like, can I just make this live and it get like just shoves it into the mesh network and generates the world and it's now available.
that'd be
Yeah,
wild.
That'd be
yeah,
sick.
or even templates. It's like choose from these event templates, and you don't even have to. You know, your world folder, I
That
guess, is like all the assets that go in it, but like stage, seating, music, speakers, all that's like already set up in different configurations. You just click which package you want, and then upload your assets, and good to go.
Yeah, that's sick. And you could reward so we could have like staking and or like node stuff where basically you get rewarded with hyper tokens for hosting a node. And then people using that node based on usage, you get hyper tokens given to you. That'd be sick. Like there's so much detail there that needs to be thought out, but like you can kind of see it.
Yeah, longer term, that's where I
Definitely.
think some of these things can head.
Yeah. It's all that matters is the fact that like we're still open to all of these things. That's why I'm like always careful about everything I release because I don't want to corner myself and get rid of like a potential for something when we're still trying to figure out exactly what the end goal is. We kind of like we have like this vision North Star thing where it's like everyone has their own ideas of what it is, but it's just like how do we go there in a way that
Everyone
uh
can come with us.
doesn't yeah, and everyone doesn't end up yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's just like it's like a balance thing. Yeah.
Where does the hype lead us?
Yeah. Follow the hyper. Okay, I think does anyone have anything else that they want to talk about or even showcase? I think let's have a look at Maximus posted a bunch of stuff. He can't be with us today. Um, but he
He was
left
there for a
a
second.
list. Yeah. But he left us a list of things. Hyperfy overview diagram. Oh yeah, that was so posted on X. A quick overview of what the platform and how that stuff works. Um, it's slightly complex and it seems like this big thing, but in actual fact, that's relatively simple to execute with the way that we have things set up. and being open source and all that. Yeah, it's weird building that. Was just like it just makes so much sense now. What do we got? Tasty crypto. Getting up a
Yeah,
3D hangout in minutes.
yeah, that popped on my timeline the other day. I was like, oh, who these guys?
Who are Tasty Crypto? Wallet community content backed by Tasty Trade.
I think some people are just hungry for seeing, kind of like what you're saying, the platform or the browser, or whatever, a centralized place to go visit worlds that people are up to and stuff. And similar to like the Zesty Beacon thing.
It reminds me of like what Roblox, like how Roblox kind of works. Like you go to the website and then it's just worlds, you know. There's pick something. It's like the main menu. Yeah, yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy, man. Oh my gosh. Need to get faster at building worlds.
What's this whip meetup that you're doing, Rustan?
Yeah. What
So
is
with the
this?
token smart
Man,
whip crew?
I don't know if you guys have been into the whip world recently, but like it's popping in there. So
Yeah,
they're
they got
still using V1 worlds, but like damn, they upped their game. Like that place looks awesome, and they've got all sorts of like things like a VIP room with the little shades that open and close.
What?
And like little this weird little like I guess what would you call it? Like garages on the buildings where you can click a button and it open them up, and there's a fire engine in there, and you can go drive the fire engine around. It's pretty funny. But man, it looks really cool in there. It's like a little mini city where they do their podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, I'm planning on going to that tomorrow. I'm excited because you know it's
Yeah.
funny. It's kind of funny because I got a chance to meet Easy in East Denver, and he's like, "Yeah, man, when you get back, we'll link up, and you know we'll I'll have to you know he basically invited me to come pull up one day, and yeah, I need to do that. I just remembered that after seeing Rustan's post, I was like, okay, I'm doing it tomorrow.
Yeah. So
I'm locking in.
Rastin's or
Yeah, Rustin, my
Rustan.
bad.
Oh,
Rustan, on my
nah, I
bad.
think it is
I,
Rustan. Like forever just like at the beginning called him Roustin, and then I kept saying that forever. Um, yeah, I don't know if you want to speak. I'll invite you to speak if you want to
yeah,
chat.
pull up, my bro. Everyone is welcome on the stage. Hype is for everyone.
Yes, Rustan. Yeah.
Hey.
Yo,
Yo,
yo.
yo, yo.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be on the WIP meetup.
Sick.
Should be pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have been on any of them, but it's always a pretty cool time. I always learn something new, and it's been around since like 2019.
Yeah, they're still going
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
I occasionally listen to the audio only version, and I'm like, yes, they always have a lot to say and lots of cool things happening, and yeah.
So they're giving me like a 30-minute time slot, and I guess I'm sort of killing two birds with one stone because Umka asked me to do something about my efforts in Hyperfy 2 as far as like talking about it and making a video, but they're giving me like 30 minutes, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about my experience with Hyperfy 2.0 most likely, more importantly, but like introducing my V1 experience as well, and what I've been building in my world, which is nowhere near complete, which is kind of perfect because it's WIP meetup, right? Work in progress. But so that's what I plan to do
The
tomorrow, and
sprinting metaverse meetup.
I'm combining what I'm doing in real life with that too, and using it as a demonstration on what I'm doing. So I invite everybody to join. I'm giving away a free VRM too for those that join and sign the guest book.
A froggy.
Yeah. So one of the hosts is Rizzle, who's I think the founder of the Fly Frogs. And so I have a fly frog, and I asked him a couple weeks ago if I could body paint it and if I had IP rights to it, you know. So he said yeah. So I body painted. I vandalized one of the fly frogs, and that'll be the VRM that's available tomorrow.
Ooh.
That's awesome. Very cool. I think is it you have to like sign the guest book or something in the world when you show up, or
Yeah, you sign the guest book. It asks you to paste. It's like a Google Drive thing, and it'll ask you to paste your wallet, so you don't have to like connect or anything. And then it'll be airdropped to you within a week probably.
very cool.
Okay, nice.
The longest running metaverse meetup. I'd believe
Yep,
that.
yep,
I mean,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, they definitely are, and they've been in like everything. They had some in crypto voxels, and then
yeah.
when it rebranded to voxels, they've been in V1. They were in. I think they've tested out pretty much everything, and they've bounced between them all the whole time through too.
Yeah, they also have been very active with Decentraland 2.0 in the last few months. Kim and Bay Backner have been reaching out persistently and participating and showcasing what's going on there, which is pretty cool because a lot of people have a tendency to think things die and then never check again, but it's cool that like they pop into crypto voxels, they pop into Hyperfy 1.0, 2.0, Decentral, like they look at everything. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, just because all the people left doesn't mean that it's not useful and it can't be a great tool for things like, not a lot of people are in voxels, but it's still an ideal place to have a, group of friends hang out and chill or do a podcast or something like that. Same with Decentraland, and like it's not like they aren't innovating either, because Decentraland has like the in-world builder and stuff like that, which is just like makes everything a lot easier. So yeah, doesn't matter how many people are in these platforms if you can get value out of it. Weird thing to say for somebody who's trying to shill their own thing, but
Well, really, it's like a niche thing, right? Like the metaverse, at least whatever platform you're in, and I think one of the best ways to capitalize on your brand is to dig into a niche, and so if you can do that now while these things are still niches, then you're gold there. But even better, if it becomes mainstream and you stay relevant, then you're set.
that's it. Okay, what else we got here? Suck the Doge, just optimizing Tatterday. I've seen a bit of this. Yeah. It's definitely worth if builders are building WebP, I don't know, it's like seems like such a low effort way to get like really fast loading worlds. PNG and JPEG are like old formats, and like WebP just like basically cuts your image sizes down by like down to 20% of that.
So much, yeah, it's amazing.
It's all these little things that kind of like add up to making worlds load and like perform and stuff like that. And in V1 we had this thing, right, where like uh where I don't know, you couldn't really choose which parts of your world would preload. It would just like it would first fetch everything and then do a one render, like because it's React, it would do a one render, and then it would then go on, oh, okay, so I'm loading like everything that just did in that first render. I need to wait till that loads before I can get into the world. And so like if you had this huge world with lots of things, then you couldn't even see any, you couldn't even get in the world and walk around until all of that shit was loaded. And in V2, we just kind of like changed the way all of that works. So by default, nothing loads first. You just go straight into the world before anything is even loaded, which obviously is an issue if you have like terrain and stuff like that, because you want the terrain that's under your feet to have loaded first. So usually you would tick the box to preload that first. But what that means is like everything can just load instantly. You can get into a world in like 2 to 3 seconds, after connecting and getting the initial snapshot and that kind of stuff. You can get into a world that has like hundreds of megabytes worth of stuff if you wanted to, but it would only load that terrain or thing, like the main stuff first. And for the most part, all you really need is to have. Is it better to have everything preloaded? Nah, nah. I think by default, nothing is preloaded, and if you want to have, you should just have For the most part, I think most people should just be like terrain or any like if you don't have terrain, don't worry about it. If you just got the default grass or something, don't worry about it. And the skybox. So you want people to get in there as fast as possible. Like if you look at crypto voxels, the first thing you see when you land is just like the sky is already loaded and the ground is loaded, and then all the buildings start loading in after you're in there and walking around. And it's like the same thing happens in Hyperfy where you like you you want the ground, the terrain, like the basic scene, like the environment stuff to load first, and the sky and the HDRI and stuff should be immediately visible to be preloaded. And then everything else can load in.
And everything in walk on and stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. One thing I noticed, like optimizing and doing WebP and stuff on some images, the image app now, like the mesh on it or whatever, it's actually like 10, 15 times bigger than the images I'm putting on it. Like I've got some images that are down to, in the 20 kilobyte range, and the image app is like 256 or something kilobytes. Same with the videos. Like videos like 400 and something, and the videos I'm putting on it are like 100 kilobytes. So I've been looking at that a little bit.
The apps, the script that you're talking about.
Yeah, like the height palette ones, the model image video currently. So the image one is like 256 or something, and the images I'm putting onto it are only like 20 to 50 kilobytes, right? And then the videos I'm putting on the video one are like 100 kilobytes, and the video thing's like 400. And I'm like, oh, then it kind of makes me feel good, but then I'm like, oh, now I need to change what this
Well,
this mesh.
thankfully though, all of that stuff is using like file hashes. So even if you did download those things and then you went to a completely different world and you drag and like say you had 10 images, completely different apps, you drag and drop them. Each of those files might be like 300 kilobytes or something. But ultimately, that script is only injected into the engine once and it's only ever loaded once. So we like automatically do all this magic shit where like someone comes into the world, even though you just dropped like 5 megabytes worth of apps, image apps into there, they all have the same script. So the person only loads that once and then they load all the images. Like
Got it.
there's a lot of like cool engineering that I don't speak a lot about, but like all of these things are just to help with like speed and that kind of stuff.
Nice. Yeah, the WebP stuff is has definitely helped out a lot in here. I mean, Tatted was running we're on average like 2.4, 2.5. I've got it down to 1.8 now. Still a little bit more to go, but no, I asked earlier because everything in my world is set to preload. So I've been like it. Maybe that's why it takes Fevin and people having issues getting in. Kind of, it takes a long time because I guess they're literally trying to load everything if they didn't already have it cached or stuff, in that sense. So I'll try just having like,
it's
some of the
totally not
bigger stuff
necessary.
terrain.
Like if you've just got a gun that's sitting wherever on the other side of the map and like people can't see that when they first load in, that should be
Yeah,
probably not preloaded. Doesn't matter when that comes in.
gotcha.
Yeah, I have like a building in the distance that is preloaded, but then all the assets inside of it are not. So, because you can't even see them from the outside, and you have to run, 100 yards to get to the building before you can get into it. And by the time you're there, it's loaded.
Yeah, it's all loaded. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
It's definitely made some progress though. I think the biggest thing in here texture wise now, even size wise, it's like 16 megabytes on the texture, and that's just the power armor guy I hadn't optimized yet. He's sitting back there. So good.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, WebP is great. I think there's a better one called KTX, but they're like fully GPU optimized textures, which they're not like images like PNG and WebP. They're kind of like baked into. It's a weird binary format. I don't even fully understand it, but it's more they're more efficient than WebP. But I think WebP just kind of like solves a lot. It's still higher memory usage than KTX and Basis. But it's a better UX. It's easy to convert things and get WebP than it is KTX. So it's a good middle ground. Omka shared AI agent related video. These first
that
joined within 24 months.
there was a specifically it's set to a certain clip where he's one of the guys in the guy that created Replit actually starts
Oh,
talking about agents in metaverses and how that's going to be important. So it goes directly to that clip because I thought it was super relevant with all the stuff that with Eliza coming in the world and acting as a player that Sean you've been working on and stuff, and some of us been tinkering with, and how Hyperfy's kind of ahead of the curve there in a lot of ways to be able to experiment with some of that stuff. So it was cool to see it on like this, I don't know, kind of a bigger podcast or whatever with one of the creators of Replit saying like, "Yep, I'm pretty sure this is where everything's headed." And it's like, "Yep, we're there already."
yeah, that's really cool. I think yeah, so Shaw kind of like set the going on all of that. And we kind of added this node client thing. He's now working on other things, but also overseeing a couple people working on node clients and Eliza Hyperfy plugin. TCM is doing a lot of work on that. Apparently, he's done some pretty insane shit, and I'm just kind of like in DMs with him, helping it where I can.
Oh snap! What?
Yeah,
Damn.
Exciting.
they got like item interaction and stuff going, I think.
What? Yeah.
And
Nice.
Eliza's talking in voice chat.
Oh,
snap.
good. Okay, cool. I've been kind of like holding off for a couple weeks to see where it expanded to, but yeah. And also, I was looking at LiveKit has some like telephony and agent talking stuff too that we can maybe integrate with a little bit too. And, like
Yeah, I
have
have a
a
feeling they're not even using any of that. I think they're just using like the natural, like as if they were. That's the thing, like agent. They're trying to make it so that it's like a human, and I think that they're even going as far as just making it use voice chat like a human does, rather than a weird service that.
Like clicking the
Live does.
microphone. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow.
Mhm.
I
Brute
think
force.
one of the challenge. So everything seems to be going pretty well in that department. The one thing that I think is up in the air is how the hell we give them visuals. So how we give agents visuals. Right now, the node client obviously is headless and doesn't like render graphics. It's just like it's like a human is running it, but they can't actually see the screen.
They're
And
blindfolded.
but they can feel around what's around, what's nearby, who's in the room, talk to them, see chat messages, do voice chat, and listen back. And run
Basically
around and
Daredevil.
yeah, push keys like WASD and jump. They know when to do that and where people are, and they can do like Marco Polo style things and move towards people and navigate around things and stuff like that. But yeah, when it comes to that, it's like, what if you ask that agent, "Oh, what do you think of this?" Well, they can't really see it. They just kind of like know. They can just see descriptions of what those things are and whether they can interact with them and stuff like that. So yeah, that's one of the things that's up in the air, and there's a few things that we can do, but it's just kind of like more of an R&D type thing as to what the best solution for that is.
All right. I know that might be a little bit out of my league, but I'm kind of thinking of it now. Like you just said, it can have somewhat of the information, whether it's the model, anything that it's looking at. Would there be a possible way somehow in the engine that it could actually do an overall, like maybe a wireframe view or something like that of it, that it could see of the overall world, that it could maybe pull from? Of,
So
maybe if it's not rendering the whole entire, everything there, but yeah, use that in
right
unison
now
with it.
what they're seeing is basically like points in 3D space. So
Okay.
every single 3D model and object or hype or whatever in the world is just it knows the position of like the transform, the position and the rotation of that, and so it can move towards it and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the next step, like the next layer on top of that, would potentially be doing bounding boxes where it's just like how big is this thing, and like its orientation in the world. But then the next layer after that would be something like actual volume where it's like
Like
wireframe or
Octree
rendered.
stuff.
But
Yeah. I gotta get the
Octree
companion
stuff.
updated now.
Dude,
Shit.
I wonder. I wonder if they could even hook straight into the Octree.
I mean,
I
it makes sense
mean,
because that's like the world collider, well, kind of.
That thing is such a beast. Like, I know this is deep tech talk, but that freaking Octree is an absolute beast. And I spent like a grand sum of 3 days building it, but
Oh
it
my
can
gosh, whoa.
raycast and raycast for days. So I wonder if it could just like you could just let the agents just spam raycast to figure out what's in the world.
Yeah, just like what? Well, I mean, you only do it when it wants to see something, right? And then it just,
That's true.
if it finds something, if it hits something by ID, then it gets the name of the thing with the ID.
Yeah.
Got a little
And
something.
can't see the colors of things though. We still need a renderer.
That's true. Yeah. Hmm.
I wonder,
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's like a sidecar world that just runs in the browser that's just like purely for visuals only, and the agent just queries that and goes, "Hey, can you send me a snapshot from this position in this direction?" And then it's, I don't know. There's so many things.
Interesting. Whoa, that's interesting. Yeah. It's like you know like freak like this really wild analogy, but you know like depth renders, something along those lines, but
Yeah.
like using 3JS canvas rendering to just render the depth of the world so it could perceive, I guess, something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Can you do that? Do you need a GPU to do depth render? Probably. I don't know.
Probably.
Anyway,
It'd be cool
it's a
to make
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to make a pirate ship game where you're the captain and all the people on deck are agents that you tell what to do.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Swab the
That's a
deck.
cool game loop right there.
Mm-hmm.
You just come back and they're just like pushing everyone off the plank. Anyone that comes in the world, all the agents have decided off the plank for you. It's like, wait a minute, hold on, captain's back, get back to work.
And when like a random shows up that has never been in the world before, and they're just like, "What are you doing in our ship?" Like, and then they make you walk the plank. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's only one path to success, and you have to sort of figure out how to get there correctly, and things can go completely awry if you do it wrong.
Man, that's funny. Yeah, punishing your agent to like go and clean the decks, scrub the decks because they're dirty.
Yeah.
How would a mutiny work?
Oh
Agent
snap.
mutiny.
That's game over, bro.
Yeah, Project 89 is building in Hyperfy. I don't know how much I can share of that, but maybe Bogey, you're helping out there, aren't you?
A little bit. Yeah, I'm just sharing ideas, and I really like.
Sharing
I mean, I've been
ideas.
chilling with, I've been chilling with Quan quite a bit recently, and like he's been just dishing out the lore for Project 89. It's just crazy. I didn't realize who Possible was till he explained it. I was like, oh snap! It's like Magic ML homies. Like we've been chilling with these
Yeah.
homies for all these years. It was like
Yeah.
whoa. So I just felt like really encouraged to like say, hey man, Hyperfy's the flex. So yeah, they're building a Hyperfy and getting a world set up and stuff. And well, yeah, it's been a great learning experience and like how to, you know, construct, you know, build worlds good, I guess. Well, kind of good. I'm still trying to, it's a fine line between high visuals and like performance, kind of thing. So it's like where do you pick the drawback, like kind of thing. So yeah, it's been really fun though. Like yeah, and after seeing Vox's lighting trick, man, holy crap, that sent me down a
Oh,
rabbit
the
hole for like
punch out.
yeah, the cookie cutter
Yeah.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Very
like
cheeky.
having hundreds of lights in your world for just free. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot this past 2 weeks, man. Since like started helping them out with that.
Yeah, I
100%.
followed along Project 89 for a bit, and they're like I don't. It goes deep, man. That's all I have
Yeah,
to say.
man.
Yeah.
No
The
Nyrocon.
lore and like what they're building is just like it goes. It's really like deep and it's really freaking cool. And I feel like I can't keep up with it because I'm like way too busy. But like of what I've seen, I'm like, man, this sounds cool. They're doing really cool shit, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
excited to see what they build. Yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna be
Nyrocon,
fun.
man. That's
It's gonna,
Da-da-da-da.
it's gonna be fun to integrate the Eliza stuff into it as
Yeah,
well.
big
It's
game
definitely been
changer.
a learning experience.
Yeah, that's
man.
gonna benefit them a lot. Like it's kind of like the whole thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Very cool.
Setting the stage. What's this? Ape chess P? Ape chess P?
Yeah. What else did Maximus's notes? What did he say
Yeah.
earlier? Apes.
Yeah, I can share a link to it. I jumped into this world. I found it on the V1 homepage. Just from that screenshot, I was looking at that, going, "That's pretty cool." They got like the red background, like the red skybox with the red stone and the boulders and stuff, and I was like, "This looks interesting." So I had to jump in and have a look at it. Very
It
cool.
looks like Mars, man. That's sweet.
Yeah, I have a feeling
Red
it was
rocks.
made by Wilson.
Ah, okay.
There's a few things in there that are like hallmarks of things that he's done before. But yeah, very cool.
Shout out Wilson. Woo, man. What G?
I could be completely wrong, but there was just a few things in there. I was like, hey, this looks like that stuff that was built by Wilson and V1 like last year. Like 99% sure. That's really cool. Yeah. Okay. So we're coming up to an hour now.
Yep.
And I think we've been through everything. But if anybody wants to talk about anything else, or has any questions, or hey, Beb's here. Hi. Yeah. Shout out if anyone wants to talk. Mention anything. Too easy.
Yo, what up,
Thanks.
No,
Pablo?
Thanks
think
for
that was
hosting,
pretty
Bogey and Uncle.
No
pretty
worries,
well
man.
rounded.
That's all good, man. No worries. I'm just excited. I want to figure like, I wonder if one day we could get together. I want to just like grasp the control, like controlling the camera, um, from an app. I've seen Doge do it countless times, but I don't know. I'm a very difficult learner, I guess. I need to see like
Is
I
this
need to
for
see
a
it happen.
vehicle of some kind?
No, well, anything really, like a
Well,
chair, any
yes, but
anchor.
also
Yeah,
Yeah.
any anchor or just like maybe even like a a space like a trigger zone, camera changes, for like dialogue or just or
Yeah.
cutscenes or whatever. Because Vox was mentioning that earlier today, so
we're
I was
like,
like, I want to figure out
looking
exactly.
closer as an like a player, like zooming, like checking out a
Fully.
sign or something,
Yeah.
looking.
If
Yeah.
you get within a
See.
little spot and go through, yeah.
Hit me up
thing.
in dev channel and like
Wait,
if you have questions and stuff. It's pretty easy. You just set camera right to true and then you can move the camera and do whatever you want.
oh, okay.
That's it.
I was playing around with the drone a little bit with the empty view, and that was useful too. Making like a little, I mean, I guess it's still a drone, but making a drone that has like you can see the whole thing. So flying around, kind of doing like playing with the drone racing type setup. That was really easy to work with just having the empty in the actual GLB, the view to like tell it to look from.
I'll obviously open source the car thing, the engine that powers the car, because we had to do the same sort of thing there, where you have this like third person view on the car, and if you hold down the left mouse button, you can move the camera around, like swivel it around, up and down, left and
Oh,
right. And
Nice.
then
Yeah.
yeah, but then when you let go of the mouse button, after a couple of seconds, it like fades back to being behind the camera, so it follows the car behind the car,
nice.
so it follows the car when you're driving. And so like there's that whole thing, and then hooking it up to the mouse wheel so that you can zoom in and out, so that it feels like the character controller but on the car. It's all there, and you can check things like whether the mouse pointer is locked and stuff to do different things. And yeah,
I've been having that
every
issue myself with just like the weapons in particular, going from one mode to the other in that camera, like whatever the first person, and it's in a sense just trying to get it to always, some avatars are different, some are, whatever, have it being on a different part of the weapon, maybe like you said the other day, Bogan, like different things, but it's that mouse scroll wheel, is that something that's available now, like at the moment, with being able to, if it's on an app, in a sense,
yeah,
okay,
it's all there. Yeah, it's
okay.
if you've got a hook on control, it's control.scrolldelta.value, I think it is. Just hit me up
Whoa.
in dev.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, all
Uh, we need the Bible.
yeah.
Oh man.
Well,
But
finally, once we launch this like browser thing, I want to spend a lot more time on guides and stuff like that. I feel like Onka's done a pretty good job like collating all of the information and stuff into the docs, which is better than nothing. And
mm.
it's all kind of there and it's in a central place, which is just fucking great. But I feel like every time I go there and look around, I'm like, man, it's like overload. There's so many things.
Yeah.
But in my own brain, I'm like, this it's not that much stuff that you need to learn, is there? Like, it's kind of like here's
No,
here's
but
the way
we
to move them around, and there's a couple options for things like cameras and stuff like that.
yeah, but some of the stuff, like I don't know, even like docs.ref, right, where you have like dot is server, dot is this. Like some people just
Yeah,
don't know that you need to do world is server, or when to use like if world is server instead, right, or something
that's
like
true.
that, or like
That's
when you're
true.
in your UI text, like how to use the proper way to format a little snippet so that you can bracket things and then do everything underneath it. You don't have to do UI, or you don't have to do UI text dot wait
Oh yeah,
UI
it's
text
writing in like
dot
3GS
this.
or
Like
like
there's
nesting.
certain things that I think we could flesh out a little bit more and show more examples of. But as far as
Yeah,
like all the other
yeah,
stuff
there's
that's it on the
still work.
site too, yeah, there's stuff that we just overlook, that you don't think that people get hung up
I
on,
think
but
we need like a from zero guide that's like a video series where you can just watch like somebody build, starting with
yeah,
simple things like, here, here's a model, like getting in that, and then, oh, I just want to make it move up and down. So how do we do that? And then, how do we make it clickable? And then just like
Ooh.
progressively get more and more complex.
What if you
And
yeah,
then,
like we could do it Amish style? It's like you're building a house or something.
yeah,
You got to go chop the wood and then cut it. It's like this. I don't know, but it
I would
involves
even be
code.
like super keen on building a freaking optimization thing for like how do I get something from Polypizza or Sketchfab ready for real-time experiences? And like
Yeah,
people like, oh man, you have to optimize a lot for Hyperfy. I'm like, no, you need to do that anyway. You couldn't drop that Sketchfab even into Unity without killing your world.
totally,
Some of these
yeah,
things are
true.
crazy. I'm like, man, a lot of things in Sketchfab are just made for like renders, not real time.
Yeah,
Even things on Polypizza, which are really low poly, they're not they're not optimized at all. Like they're all
Mhm.
individual like
yeah.
meshes with materials and separate colors and stuff like that, where it could be just Atlas to a single draw call. So
Or
I don't
vertex
know.
painted.
That's why I'm super interested in building like tools that can automate all of that stuff, because it, to me feels reproducible and the same thing you can do over and over and over again. So why can't we
Yeah.
automate that? Why can't we just put a 3D model into a tool, click a button, and it's fixed?
yeah. And I think building stuff like that and having like kind of a Hyperfy tools, um, like toolbox that you're building these tools is something that gets the brand and name out more for things that you don't have to use it for Hyperfy if you
Not
don't
even
stand
for
it.
hyper, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just something that's useful, made
Yeah, you're
made by the
totally right.
Hyperfy, made by Hyperfy, useful for Hyperfy, but sure, if you want to go use it in Unity or whatever, go for it, or whatever other
Your
project you're
assets
working
will
on.
be fixed once you've used
Yeah.
the thingy. Yeah.
Yeah, that totally goes against that like for our ethos is like we're not building this just for our own benefit. This is for anyone. And I think like just pushing this industry forward generally is a good idea.
Mhm.
So yeah, building tools that like yeah, useful for us but also useful for literally everybody else is like is definitely like pro.
But yeah, I agree with you. We can pick a couple more like Hyperfy how type series and I was thinking maybe for the next one kind of do another quick like start up a fresh world, see what the new UI looks like, interact with things, drag in some stuff from the hype palette, some of the basic stuff using Gizmo, all the things, that maybe if you've been tinkering for a few months, it's secondhand, but for the person just booting up the first world yesterday, they're like, okay, I got my world up, now what?
Yeah, it's a pretty good idea. I think,
Mhm.
yeah, if you look back at your videos from the Hyperfy How meetups, they're probably like slightly outdated because the engine's changed so much since then. So
Exactly.
maybe that might be a good chance to revisit. I'm pretty confident that the new UI is like more solidified and likely to stick around for a lot longer. I can't think of anything else that I want from it. Whereas the other ones, I always had something that I wanted more from it.
Right.
It's come such a long way. I can't really remember what it looked like before the grid style. It's crazy.
Yeah, I booted up. I booted up an old local world the other day, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is way back." Like, everything else.
Man.
Auto Atlas mapping and law decimate tool. Yeah, that'd be useful
Yeah,
as
but
well.
basically just looking like any mesh and just atlasing that shit into one draw call. LOD doesn't matter so much. Some things need LOD, and like it's a good idea, but like that's another problem altogether. Oh, it could just be a decimate, yeah. But basically, like if you have something, if it's just a material with a color, then it should use that. It should create a little swatch atlas, and combine it all into one thing, and then just use the same material across every 3D object, and then merge them together. So one material, one mesh, and optionally there's maybe two materials and two meshes if you have one transparent one and one opaque one. Yeah. Anyway, we're running an hour and 12 minutes now, but I feel like we covered a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, very cool.
Stay hyper, gang.
Thanks, guys.
Later, gang.
Peace.
Later.
Woo!